Hey, good evening. It's PopPop. It's my LitRPG world again, and this is way too small. We can't have this. Why do I always do this? Here we go. Yay!
Oh no!
Ryn Stryker, isn't that much better? Now you have to adjust.
Yeah, I was gonna say now I gotta adjust.
Sorry about that. So
There's no warning.
I never do warnings. So we have Ryn Stryker, the author of a ton of books, none of which I've read yet because I don't yell at me. I've started because I will do something to you real fast, and you don't want me to do this to you yet because it's going to traumatize your brain.
Oh no!
I did start reading DCO, so don't worry about that. But I have not read Dungeon Cores yet. I have not gotten into Dungeon Cores, but I will promise you, the very first Dungeon Core I fully read will be yours. Okay.
I mean, they're okay.
It doesn't matter. They're yours. Okay. Now your new books are cool, and I mean, again, it is a little farther afield, but I do like this is the westerns, right? The two,
yeah.
Those just look so cool. It's just at this point I have so much shit to read that it's very possible. Let me get my comments here. I want to see what's going on. We better get some comments. We better get some people here over here because I will yell at people tomorrow. But I love doing interviews no matter what. So we met last year.
Yes.
On the very first day of arriving into Denver, Gims and I were on the train. And Ryn was talking about going to Syrup for breakfast. And I'm like, will you please wait for us? Please, 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 please. And you know what? She said, yes. So she waited. And eventually, within an hour, we got to the hotel after having to go to the hotel with no air conditioning that everybody now knows as the Holiday Inn Express, just down the street. And Ryn was sitting there with Jay Krause and Sydney Krause, who I didn't recognize because I never saw before. I just, he had his helmet on all the time, and he discorded. So the five of us went down to Syrup and had a grand old time, and hopefully that'll still be a tradition this year. So you are like the first persons Gims and I met in real life.
And you still haven't actually fully read one of my books. You knew that was coming.
Technically, you've not written any books. Because, never mind. We won't go there. You know where I was going with that one, but that's just silly. So who do we have here? We have some of your people, because I don't recognize those. We have a Joe. DCO makes all the other Dungeon Core novels look lacking. There you go. And who's that?
Rue's saying I was throwing shade at you.
They're showing shade at me.
I threw shade at you and I said you hadn't read my book.
You did. I know you did. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? PopPop can only read so much. He's old. And he reads slow. He doesn't listen to anything because his ears don't work. So that's okay. We'll get there. Should I make a promise to you?
I mean, have it done by July?
Yes, have something done by. What do you want me to read by July? You name the book.
I mean, so if you've already started DCO, that's always a good one, especially because aren't you complaining about them being upside down on your bookshelf anyways?
Look at that. You're the one that pointed out. I put a picture up and she said, oh my God, my book, it's backwards.
Yep.
I'm not complaining. You complain.
I have them upside down on my shelf so that it looks right.
So what do? You do it something you do this to make it look right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I guess I could do that. But then but that's fine. Fine. Is that what you want me to do? I'm like on page 4. But you know what? I have to do this one because you actually,
I did sign it.
it's a signatured one. So we'll do that. I'll have that done. I'll have that done by LitRPG.
And then, I mean, and obviously the Westerns probably sing to you
The
a little
Westerns,
better.
those will be the next. Those will be the next because they're nifty. I like the concepts. So you are going to Jordan Con as well.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
do
we
you
are
know what
fast
you'll
approaching.
discuss? I know 3 weeks ish, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're discussing at Jordan Con?
I'm on a total of 4 different panels. It looks like
Just books. They're just books.
I know one of the panels is going to be like a late night Saturday panel, where it's like a create your own adventure. So I guess the panelists are going to be like telling a story on the fly.
I'll be sleeping.
Based off random things. There's a panel on it where we're supposed to roast LitRPG tropes and stuff, which I'm not really sure why I got picked to roast anything.
I don't know why Geneva would let that get past the planning stage.
I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's put me on something to roast. That's fine. And then I got another one that's talking about like reimagining tropes in the genre, putting new spins on things. And I can't remember what the 4th one is off the top of my head.
I think I'll just be running around trying to interview Brandon Sanderson and getting kicked out by security. They did make me a media guest. Why?
Well, that should get you easier access to Brandon Sanderson.
I know it does. It's awesome. I have a badge. And, believe it or not, they, I already bought the ticket. They refunded the ticket like that. Once I said, I got a media guest. Whoa. That was pretty good. I'm sorry I did that on purpose or an accident. So that'll be fun. I'm going to run around interviewing people while you're doing your panels and whatnot. So have you gone to Jordan Con before?
Yes, I went last year. Last year was my first time.
What's it like? How does it differ? How is it similar to LitRPG?
It's a lot smaller than LitRPG Con was. So it wasn't, it didn't have as like chaotic of a vibe as LitRPG Con did. It kind of felt like a slower pace, but because of that, it like let everybody really spend a lot more time together. So it was really good for spending time with the authors, narrators, publishers, and all of that.
Now, there might be a difference this year because one, Brandon Sanderson's going to be there, and he's got a wee little bit of a pull, even though I've never read Brandon Sanderson. So there.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought about
Brandon Sanderson are on the same level. Does that make you feel
I think he's a little higher still.
So they actually closed down the number of tickets.
No, I think, they closed the ticket sales recently, but that was because they had to, but they didn't put a cap on the ticket sales. So they had to close it a certain amount of weeks out from the convention.
Oh, okay. So whatever they sold by then, that was it. So you just
they'll have like some day of ones. Yeah.
Okay.
But they didn't put a cap on ticket sales. So there's potential that it's going to be a lot larger than it was last year. Because I would say last year it was just like a couple hundred people maybe. Like it was very small. You saw all the same people the whole week through.
And there's, from according to Run of Book Talk did a little ad. We just, I heard she just does wonderful little things over there. Said there's going to be like 70 participants, which is, smaller. Now that's smaller than LitRPG.
Yeah.
Because we have, a crap ton of featured guests and panelists. So that'll be interesting. This is my first time. Sorry, recovering.
Yeah, it's definitely a smaller and more intimate feeling one. I know Jay's excited about that because obviously he is looking forward to a smaller convention.
Goddamn introverts. I didn't say that. I don't say things like that. Boomers don't talk that way. So he'll be fine. He came out of his shell last year. And what the hell, he's a featured guest now over at LitRPG Con, which I'm sure he's just thoroughly thrilled about. And I can't wait to, I'm not allowed to. I promised I wouldn't. I promised to be nice sometimes. That's a horrible thing. You
got to be careful with the things you promise. Yeah.
Pardon me?
So you got to be careful.
I know. But still, it's Jay. So, if it was Tommy, I would just pick on Tommy all day long because it doesn't really matter. So that'll be cool. I mean, I just literally one day I said, you know what? They put up the ad. Media guest supply.
Why not?
Why not? And they said yes. Silly people. It was sillier than Geneva letting me on as a panelist at LitRPG Con.
I think Geneva's the same person that let you on for Jordan Con.
What?
Yeah.
No, I checked with her and she said no. Maybe she lied to me.
Who knows? You'll have to ask them when you get there.
Deviousness. That's just a horrible thing. So what are you looking forward to this year at Jordan Con as opposed to last year?
Well, so last year I was super nervous because it was my first year ever actually being a panelist for any convention. Because I've tried for Dragon Con a few times and I've never gotten it. So I wasn't even planning on going to Jordan Con last year. And then all of a sudden I get a message from Geneva that's like, hey, you're a guest, but you haven't confirmed with them. And I was like, I'm a what? So I was super nervous. It never came through an email. I just never got the email. But so there's a lot of last minute scrambling. I was really nervous to get there. And so a good part of it was kind of just running around, not really knowing what I was supposed to be doing or knowing anybody. Because obviously I've interacted with a bunch of people.
RPGs there.
Oh, there were a bunch, but it wasn't really circles that I'd run in person before. And so we'd met each other at Dragon Con and I'd interacted with people online, but I hadn't spent, that was a whole weekend of just spending the time with them. Because even at Dragon Con, I would go swing by the West End, but usually I'm off doing other Dragon Con things. So it was a very interesting, just kind of figuring out, it's oh, if I'm not on a panel, I'm just hanging out with the LitRPG people, because it's a very different type of convention than I'm used to, because I'm used to going to the very large conventions that have, cosplay contests and 50 million panels all going at the same time. And so it was a very interesting to have a small localized convention. But that being said, this year, definitely, now that I know a lot of people that are going, I'm looking forward to obviously getting to see everybody and hang out with them again. I also know Ginger and the Foxes are going to be there, so it's going to be great to get to meet them in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ryn's going to try to track me down. I'm pretty sure she sent me a warning about that.
Who, Ryn? Ryn will find
me.
She'll find me.
I think I'm on her target list of people she wants to interview.
And Peter Wetzel and his sister are going to be there.
So it'll be interesting in a different way, since now that I'm I know kind of what the con's going to be like. I guess it's going to be interesting, and still that people actually want to come try to find me and talk to me, because that's still super strange, and it never makes sense. But I'm always happy to talk.
You're somebody. Get over it.
I'm just me.
Yeah, I say the same thing. They don't believe it. Just pop. So now we're going to switch a little bit, because you know what? I'm going to keep you on your toes here. So your books, your DCO series has been with Portal.
Yes.
You've had several books with Portal. And now your most recent one, the newest is with Aethon.
Well, the newest published is still Portal, because Beast of the Black Hills came out after Silent Blades.
Okay.
But Silent Blades was with Aethon.
Okay. So Silent Blades is with Aethon.
Yes.
How does that happen? Did they come tracking you down? Did you say, I want to do something different? How does an author decide to switch publishers, or how does that happen? I want to know, because I don't.
Well, so Silent Blades in and of itself was different in that it's not a lit RPG. So it's a like science fantasy post-apocalyptic zombie story. And because of that, Portal only publishes LitRPG. So they weren't going to publish Silent Blades because it's not LitRPG. And I reached out to Rhett at Athon and was like, hey, I have this story. It's not LitRPG, but Athon publishes more than just LitRPG.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And so I asked them, I was like, hey, would you guys be interested in this? And they were like, it's not really as long of a book as we like. It's a standalone. We don't really touch those, but we'll still look it over. And then the next day they're like, yeah, we'll take it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Wow, that's good. See, now I know. I
go.
learned things by asking questions. I didn't know that. I mean, yeah, Portal, I guess you're right. They do. I'm thinking.
Yeah, they just do LitRPG and game lit.
Yeah. That is a true.
They used to have another imprint called Monolith that was going to do more fantasy type stuff. But that is closed down essentially. And so it's just Portal with LitRPG.
There you go. So what is going on with the current series then? That's going to staying with Portal. With Portal.
So Beast of the Black Hills and Resonance, which are my two running series with Portal, they've signed for the first 3 books of both of those. So they'll have those. Silent Blades was a standalone. I have a Royal Road story that I'm working on right now that I've signed with Athon. So they'll be publishing that as it comes along.
And that's under
that'll publish under Jonathan's
Glyax or July.
Yeah. So on Royal Road, it's under Glyax. The story is called Tamer's Gauntlet. And I'm going to have some goodies at Jordan Con for that, actually.
I get tchotchkes?
I mean, if you find me quick enough, I'm only bringing a few.
Can I even say, Ryn, would you please save PopPop something?
Maybe.
Okay, fine. I'll try to find.
I'm also bringing baked goods.
See, the last time I was delayed in getting to something after I was promised something was the real imitation Versace bathrobe from James A. Hunter.
By the time that's on James.
Yeah, I know it's on James. By the time I got up there, he didn't have any, and I didn't get one for 7 months. So,
although didn't he give you like a special note for that?
He gave me a very nice note. I got a really good note for it. So in fact, I've got 2 really good notes from James A. Hunter. So, I'm really happy about that. Yeah, I have a bunch of signed stuff to give away too once I get my Patreon moving.
Yeah, James is such a great guy though. Like him and his wife have been amazing because they're some of the first people in the community that I ever actually interacted with and met, and so they've been phenomenal for the whole journey.
Whoever is doing his media, it could be James for all I know. I don't know, especially for all the stuff leading up to Kiosk Kingdom is just, it's so hilarious. I mean, if you're seeing any of those on the Facebook, I am laughing. I mean, of course, I love Discount Dan more than certain other series, which I never mentioned because then you just get in trouble if you actually mention the series that you like them better than. But he is hilarious in all of the advertisements that are coming up to it, which comes out next week on the 31st. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I remember these things. So now we've done that. Now, why do you have such a reputation, Ryn Stryker?
I have no idea.
How did that happen? You know what I'm talking about. You are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You are. Yes, you do. You are the mixologist of LitRPG. Now, last year I couldn't really mention and talk to you about that because I was just a fanboy. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? and I heard things and listened to things and rumors. How did you become the mixologist of LitRPG?
I think before we go there, I think somebody does have a question in chat. You got to pay
That's a good
attention to that,
diversion.
PopPop.
I'm sorry I can't read.
The publishers,
I think it's the authors, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say the publishers generally actually completed series. It boosts the sales. So it's more so the issue in LitRPG is that a lot of the big LitRPGs started as web serials. And because of that, they're extremely long and serialized.
Yeah.
And so it's, as the story continues to grow and grow and grow, it's harder to like wrap those up and come to a conclusion and an ending. Personally, I like to keep my series at 3 to 5 books long. Anything else
Wow,
would
and even
destroy me mentally, especially because I'm a pantser, so I don't plan ahead at all. So,
but you have to know where you're getting to, no matter what. Even a pantser knows where they're going.
No, I can. Portal would even tell you at the end of like book 2 for Beasts of the Black Hills. I sent them a message and I was like, apparently this is in the story now.
Like, well, that's what a pantser does, but
it's a huge thing that's going to change like so much in the world. And I was like, oh well, here we are.
Wilkie's in a mood because Wilkie's being nice.
Oh.
And here's another question.
What is an unexpected must-have item to take along to conventions?
An empty suitcase.
I would say, I mean, personally for me, I like to bring my own lanyard, which kind of seems silly, but the lanyards that they give you at conventions, like they're spiffy, but everybody has the same one. So it's nice to have like a little just quick personalized thing that makes it, you.
I do have someone from the DCC street team member type person just around the corner, 20, 30 minutes away. She did send me a lanyard along with some other stuff. So I have a DCC lanyard. I think we both, so we can bring those along. So that's a very good possibility. The weird thing was, driving wise, she lives maybe a half hour away from where I would be, even with the worst traffic, because traffic in Florida is horrible. She mailed it to me. It should have gotten there in a day or two. It went from Kissimmee to Tampa to Sarasota to Lake. I mean, it took a week to go.
This is why mail always gets lost.
It was nuts. I was watching it. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's ridiculous. Anything else here? I see. Now comes the Wilkie questions. We'll never get to. I think you had this planned. We're going to get there. Don't you worry.
No worries. Passion for writing. So I read a ton of books. Reading was my escape growing up. I dove into and lost myself to books for most of my childhood. Because again, it was an escape. It was a world to live into and move into that wasn't, my reality. And so from that, it obviously fostered a love for the written word. And I always wanted to write because reading was such an escape for me. Reading was so healing, so powerful for me that I figured I wanted to be able to do that for other people. I wanted to be able to create stories that people could lose themselves into and escape into for, however long they needed, as a way of like, I guess, kind of paying it forward.
So what got you into actually doing the writing itself? So a lot of times I've heard authors come up and say, I read all the time. And, eventually there's just some things that I can't find written. So I decided I'm going to do it.
I always liked to write, just fooling around. Some of my oldest writing, this is kind of funny, was actually, I was writing Pokemon-styled stories to help one of my friends in school with math because he was having trouble with math. And so I would write Pokemon stories that had, the trainer going around and having to like buy things and beat trainers, and so they would earn money and then have the money to spend and like, you know, keeping track of the Pokemon stuff. And that was like second or third grade. And then into like middle school, high school, I liked writing for like all of my English classes and everything. Freshman year of high school, I started writing like my first kind of little fantasy story. It's absolute garbage. We read it live on stream, my wife and I, back in like 2020, and there was a lot of drinking involved, which was completely hilarious. I used to write a bunch of poetry, and so it's always been something that I've been really passionate about doing and telling stories. And so when I got the chance to write for Portal, I didn't want to pass it up.
There you go. And how long have you been writing for Portal then? Since beginning
I signed my first contract with them in 2018.
Wow. You're a veteran over there.
That was Bone Dungeon, yeah.
Okay. That's some time ago. And you're still
around the block.
Jungle Juice makes everything better. So I'm assuming Jungle Juice would get us back into the mixology part, but we're not going to go there right now. We're going to give you another respite because of this.
So character of mine, it's easier to write than others. Do I think it's easier to write characters or situations? So I am notorious for writing multiple series at a single given time. And I do that because that way, depending on whatever mood I'm feeling in a day or whatever vibe that I need to chase, I can dive into the story to do so. I do prefer writing first person over third person. So that's been kind of like what I've been leaning towards too, a lot more recently. I found that love kind of when I was writing Flame Spitter. That just first person came a lot more naturally, and it actually let me like showcase my writing a little more because I could better bring to life the scene, the environments, the tastes, the smells, the sounds, like everything, and create a more immersive form of storytelling. Situations wise, combat scenes always pull me in. I really love writing like my fast-paced action scenes. So anytime I have chapters that have those chapters always fly by, and I can get lost into them really quickly.
Do you tend towards long battle scenes? Would you wrap them up real quick?
Long in that they might be like 3 or 4 chapters long, but still relatively short, given that most of my chapters average between 12 to 1400 words. So I'm pretty well known for short and punchy chapters. But
is
the
that
longer
because Royal Road, or
it's just kind of like just my style was faster paced scenes. I think it's probably partly to do with being a pantser. I'm pretty succinct and to the point of like my mind getting a scene made as it's playing out in my mind when I'm writing it. And so I just kind of sit down and start writing. And so there's just this natural like ebb and flow to it. And then when the scenes are done, that's a couple chapters and that's a day.
So when you have those multiple chapters in a single battle scene, is it like, the commencing scene, the beginning of the battle, and then, something happens bad to the hero, to the main character, and, at the beginning of the next chapter for it. So then you have to recover.
Yeah, it's usually it usually like is pretty organic in that it's pulling itself here or there. So like for Tamer's Gauntlet, the battle scene I'm currently working on. The first 2 chapters, we got into the battle, everyone's monsters got summoned, everybody had like kind of their first turns and moves and everything, and then it ends with something happening and the main character literally sitting there and going like, what the hell just happened? Because like all of a sudden everything shifted because of the like last ability of the monster that used it right beforehand. And so they're like natural little kind of breakpoints in the action to keep pulling people in. I'm apparently notorious for having like a lot of like mini cliffhangers on the chapters too. So people have said it's like a drug dealer with chapters because they're so short. It's like, oh, one more. Oh, one more.
Oh, good Lord. He does. He does.
I mean, I feel like everybody would appreciate a Dickin.
What is a Dickens?
A Dickin is a demonic chicken. It's the first trademark mob of the Dungeon Crawl Online series. It's the infamous Dickin.
Would you have it capable of breathing fire in the stuffed animal?
I think that would be a little too complex. I think just a derpy little funny demonic chicken would be super amusing.
Make it happen. See what goes. We're getting good questions here. I like your fans. They keep diverting me from my mixology because I want to learn.
They keep trying to pull you back into it.
There you go. What drink pairs best with reading high intensity battle chapter? Thank you, Joe.
Depends on the book. If you're reading Flame Spitter, obviously bourbon is going to be the best for those chapters. If you're reading Dungeon Crawl Online, depending on the chapters, if you're on the demonic farm animals floor, then a good Fireball whiskey is, fitting. If you're on Steampunk Dinos, maybe, I don't know, maybe go with a highball. If you're on the third floor, I'm going to say, I'm trying to think of a good.
Do you have something where a lemon drop would work?
A lemon drop, not so much. I was trying to think. I do love my lemon drops. The fourth floor would definitely be a Blue Hawaiian because it's pirate themed. The fifth floor, probably hot chocolate with Bailey's added to it because it's an Arctic floor. Oh, I guess the sixth floor is there's a high class hotel, and the final boss is like a bartender. So a lemon drop is perfect.
There you go. Okay, or that.
Okay. Or Manhattan, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of drinks get thrown in there. It's all. It's
Gims would want to have a Cosmo somewhere along the line.
Oh, I obviously do need a Wink plush. You're right, Rue.
Yeah. Me, my concept of drinking, I know it's gonna hurt, is Jello shots, Super Bowl party.
I mean, I didn't partake. But last year I did get offered random Jello shots out of somebody's hotel room.
Whoa. Somebody or someone that you knew. There's a difference there.
Random. It was people that I met. I had been there maybe 2 hours.
I would avoid that kind of lemon Jello shots.
Yeah, they're like, we're all gonna go take Jello shots up in our room. Do you want to come? And I'm like, nope, I'm sticking around down here. Because it was actually when Stephen Landry was getting ready to propose to his now wife.
Yeah.
And so we were all hanging around waiting for the proposal.
I did not know them at all to be in, and that was at LitRPG Con or at
Jordan Con.
Jordan Con last year. Yeah. Well, I wasn't there yet. I met Steve online. So I can't wait to actually meet him. So that'll be cool.
I got to go to their wedding. It was a great time.
Did you go to the wedding?
I did. Yeah, it was like a 6-hour drive, so I drove up.
I did get invited, but it was just too far.
Yeah, no, totally understandable.
It would have been brutal to go from Florida up to Tennessee. So, and I'm just looking here. What'd you go to snack?
Mike and Ike's or Red Hot Tamales.
Wow. Me? I don't know what I would do. I mean, it's no good because I'm diabetic, so I usually just don't do many sweets anymore. Except when I'm in a mood and I take down a gallon of ice cream. I didn't say that. I did not say that. I'll deny I said that. Strange. So very true.
I'm not used to people trying to prey on me, so
it's a very.
I gotta learn the stranger danger.
Yeah, you do, and nothing else there. So when I get there, one thing I know you're never going to make for me is an old fashioned. I learned that I do not like them, when we went on a cruise. It was just something too much about it. But I did take a whiskey class. So I learned that I like rye and rye drinks. So do I have to bring my own bottle of rye and have you make me something?
I mean, I drink, if I'm doing whiskey, I do just bourbon. I usually don't do rye whiskeys. I am a bourbon girly, not rye.
And what is bourbon? I mean, what kind of drinks go? What, I don't even know what goes into an old fashioned. Don't tell me bourbon, because then, I know I'm not going to be.
It's bourbon.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be drinking that. So I have to like walk through the streets of Atlanta.
But no, I actually, I don't pre-make drinks with bourbons usually. I mean, towards the end of JordanCon, I did have bourbon because I was introducing people to the Turkey Dew, which is Mountain Dew and bourbon. See, everybody's reaction was like that in the site. I was introducing everybody to it because
Mountain Dew is a great drink. Mountain Dew and Sprite. I mean, Mountain Dew is a step up.
Mountain Dew was created to be used as a mixer
in the hills of Tennessee.
Yeah. And so there was an actual like whiskey convention where they mixed Mountain Dew with wild turkey. And so they call it the Turkey Dew. So it was like the unofficial cocktail of the whiskey convention. And everybody, like, I would tell the story over and over and people are just like, there's no way. And so I actually had Joe run and get me some wild turkey and Mountain Dew. And I introduced a bunch of people to the Turkey Dew. And
there has to be a proper proportion. Or do you just guess and go?
I wing it.
Okay.
As I do with all things.
Wing it as a turkey. You would.
But yeah, so the drinks that I make at conventions are usually like sweeter drinks. Ooh, but we have an actual question.
Seriously, I think Wokey always has actual questions.
I mean, so honestly, it's one would be just like, read. But when you're reading books, and I would say for upcoming authors to read over listen, because reading wise, you're going to see a lot of the sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, all of the stuff that you kind of miss when you're listening to an audiobook. But as you're going through it, try to like take notes about things that you enjoy as you read and things that you don't. Because the whole thing as you're reading is you're going to be looking at like developing your own style, and you develop that based off of your own personal like flair of these are all the things that I want to be able to do. These are all the things that other authors have done that I really enjoyed. And you kind of blend that all together to like make your unique signature for it.
So that the reading is a really good bit of advice. Last night, Jared Patch said that's what she did. She just read. She didn't, do much more, but she'd written some good books, and she just did it all on her own. Justin Whitaker, who did Wraith, Wizard, Ascendant, last year, he became really big in his self-marketing, his pitching towards the end of last year. Excuse me. When I interviewed him, part of his process was to read as many LitRPG books as he can, the DCCs, the Primal Hunters, He Who Fights, and I assumed that meant that he had a very long career of reading, or a very long history of reading the LitRPG books. And he said, no, I read them in like some ungodly short amount of time, like a month. He like compressed his education into a month, and then wrote an 800-page book.
That happens.
I was gobsmacked by that. I mean, and then you have the people who go and do, like a mentoring program or a writing program over with Saris, or, over in Selkie and all the other guys. And it just goes on for months and forever. Or then you have the people who do it educational, through college and whatnot. You know what I do? I just read. It's the easiest way to do things. And yes, I'm going to read Ryn's book. Don't worry. I promised. We have other people that are here. Uh-oh. Now I guess that was the
turkey do.
Turkey do.
The bourbon, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Lighthouse is waving at us.
Is that a wave?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I don't understand this new non-boomer language stuff. She's great with sweet drinks. But that's okay. That's the margs and the whatnots. Now we have something long down here.
Oh yeah, I won't touch tequila.
Just because of the impact?
Tequila was the one and only drink that I ever got blackout on, and so I don't touch it.
I have drank so rarely in my life. I can still remember the times that I have done it. Going back to a senior graduation party in high school and a party in college where we all ended up, or a dance at college, we all ended up going to McDonald's drive-through, walking through it. They don't do that anymore.
I was gonna say, they just opened when you went, right?
But back in, why does it, everyone does that? I guess it's my age. That was back in the 80s when I still had brown hair. So, we walked through a McDonald's drive-through. But at some point after that, they don't let you do that anymore because remember the 80s were wild. That's what they tell us. At least on Bluey, they say that. This is an inane segue. What is this dog talking about?
That was for our talking about people reading
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Somebody at some point is always the first to do the concept.
At least you understand dog. Ooh.
So as we talked about previously, probably before you came in here, Lighthouse, we do have Tamer's Gauntlet, which is currently being written on Royal Road that Athon has signed. So that'll be a 5-book series of monster taming.
Technically, where are you in the Royal Road writing process on that?
I'm over halfway through book 1.
Okay.
And then Dead 2 is finishing up the developmental edits, so that'll probably be published later this year. I have a project with Audible that will be releasing in November. And then probably the next Elemental Gunslinger book. I'm busy.
It's always good to keep busy.
It is.
That means you'll always be making money in the future.
That is always the hope.
That's the key thing. That's the key hope. So what are you reading right now?
A multitude of things. I switch off. I read and listen, depending on what I'm doing. LitRPG wise, I will next be listening to the Third Discount Dan. I have it pre-ordered. It comes out March 31st.
I just finished the read last weekend.
Reading wise, I'm reading some dark romance. Listening wise, I just finished listening to some romantasy. So I listen.
So you're versatile.
Yeah, I don't just read. I don't just sit in LitRPG. I read and consume from a multitude of genres.
You're gonna love Kiosk Kingdom. It's the best of.
Oh yeah, I'm super looking forward to it.
The best of the 3. Each book becomes vastly better.
I've been waiting for the audiobook because I love the.
Well, Steve Campbell's great. So
yeah. Croc's voice is awesome.
Yes, it is. How you pick a New Zealand accented voice for a mimic in the shape of a dog is beyond me.
He's classified as F for friend.
Yeah, whatever. And he was so great talking to him last week as well. What else we have? What's this? Got to keep waiting. Ooh. These are serious questions.
I mean, that I've never met, that I'm patiently or not patient. So I've met pretty much most, if not all, of like the authors that I read in LitRPG. Conveniently. So, but for non-lit RPG, I am super waiting for the second Seasons of Carnage book by Bryn Weaver, which releases in June. Although I am going to her book signing event in June as well, so I'll get to meet her then.
You're just a fan person.
What? No. It's just fun to get to meet people. Like when you consume their work, it's really cool to get to like actually meet them. And then the Apprentice to the Villain series is a lot of fun. It's goofy and shenanigans filled, but it's more like slow burn romance-y, but still a lot of fun. If you're looking for shenanigans, there's a little like frog that holds up signs to talk and send messages. It's good fun. And the main character like starts to apprentice and work for the villain, who's trying to be this big bad evil, but she keeps like throwing him off. It's good fun. So that next book, I think book 4 is coming out in like August. So those are 2 from authors that I haven't met that I'm eagerly awaiting sequels for. But like I said, when it comes to LitRPG, I have met, I'm pretty sure every author that I've read, I have met.
And I don't know the answer to this next one.
I have for a good bit. So for Bone Dungeon, I had a choice and I picked Sound Booth Theater. Dungeon Crawl Online, I wanted Sound Booth Theater. I got Travis Baldry, so I can't complain. You can't complain when you get Travis Baldry.
You can't.
But I love Sound Booth Theater, so they're always my top pick to work with is Sound Booth Theater, just because they were some of the first audiobooks that I listened to in the genre. And I fell in love with
some sort of attack. They had some sort of
their Discord got attacked today. Yeah,
Discord got bammed around a little bit.
Yeah. And so let's see. For Ace, I picked Sound Booth Theater. Elemental Gunslinger, I picked Sound Booth Theater. Silent Blades, Aethon offered Jessica to me, and I said yes. Tamer's Gauntlet, I requested Jessica. They said yes. So yeah, I pretty much always have the choice for my narrators. The only time that I don't get the choice is if we go through a third party like Podium or Tantor.
I was going to say, yeah.
And in those situations, usually you get a list of narrators, and then you have to just kind of pick from the list.
I've heard, Podium kind of works with trying to get who you want. But yeah, I know that you have to pick from whoever they have available and whatnot. They'll fix their scheme of things. So, sorry. And I think we are caught up with questions right now. So, what do you want to tell your fans? Because you are somebody apparently now because of all that narrator choice you have, and just I pick such and such. I pick Jeff. I pick Sound. I mean, you just have power. What do you want to tell? Power. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. What do you want to tell your fans? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to get out? Ryn on the spot.
I know, way to put me on the spot. Well, first and foremost, when it comes to conventions, like I said, I am going to have spiffy little goodies that are solely going to be like essentially unique to, you have to see me at a convention to get them. I'll tease a little more in that they are mystery bags and they can have one of 6 things in them. And I'm only giving 1 to each person per convention. So good luck getting all 6.
That's not possible.
You know, you might have to trade with other people, or
you take a cudgel to somebody in a dark alley. You know.
But yeah, so that's that, and I'm super excited. It's kind of my first foray into coming up with like personalized swag to give out at conventions. So if it is well received, then I might be able to justify doing more. But I am super excited about it. It has to do with Tamer's Gauntlet, which is, like I said, my upcoming series with Aethon, because I'm really trying to push that one and get it a lot of good traction.
I don't think she's trying to start the brawl. I wasn't even really trying to start a brawl. I was just trying to start something in an alleyway.
If I was trying to start a brawl, I would imply that there was some secret seventh one when there really wasn't, and then watch everybody try to hunt it down.
There are authors who have go to narrate. There are some that do get to do that, but to me, I would think sometimes you would want to try to cast something different in terms of the skill sets of the various narrators.
Yeah, there's definitely different narratives have like different feels and vibes to them, and so it's definitely a when you're looking at narrators. The other thing with narration when you're looking at though is you're looking at if it's single narrator, or if you're getting like duet narration or graphic audio like Soundbooth does. All of those are things that you have to come into consideration with, and then it comes into when you have those narrators, like how well you're able to work with them. So like when Jessica was doing the Silent Blades, I had a call with her before she even started, and we went through a lot of the character names and the character accents and voices for them and thoughts and everything. So we had a lot of brainstorming back and forth there. And then I sat in her lives as she recorded. So if she had any questions, I could answer them right away. So there's a very personal interaction, which really helped the story shine. And then my work with Soundbooth, especially for Aced and Elemental Gunslinger, I've worked with Ryan pretty closely, and so I was able to talk to him with all the planning. And
so would Ryan be your segue to the rest? He basically you chat with him and figure out what all the other character or the other voice actors would do for you. So
so Ryan is the lead producer when it comes to the Elemental Gunslinger series, so he kind of has a lot of that creative say. And so when we first started, we were just kind of like discussing kind of the main characters, their main roles, who all was who. And so from there, we kind of like discussed, okay, it'd be cool if we could get Jeff to do these voices. It'd be cool if we, he was able to get Andrea for the female lead, which was really cool. So, and then from there, it was like trying to lock down the like character voices and, being like, okay, well, the character in your mind, like which actor would they kind of sound like, and pinning all that down to, give the direction for the actors to run with.
Very good. Now everyone knows that PopPop doesn't really do audiobooks all that well. He cannot do audiobooks first. I am starting to do some audiobooks after I've actually read the book. And Daniel Wisniewski is like, oh my God, this voice. Yeah, when I hear him, I've heard him on a couple so far, Mage Tank for one, and then it's already out, so I know Jay Krause is using him for Founders Edition as well, and the whole thing through that. I'm not even allowed to talk about the parts that I like because, again, I promised him too much.
All right, see, you got to be careful what you promise, Papa.
I know, but it's Jay. We said this already. The immersive tunnel for DCC was like, holy shit, I could listen to this stuff.
Right.
I mean, because back in May when we drove down to see Matt in Coral Gables, I bought book one, for Gims to listen to because I figured she has to know what the hell she's getting herself into. And that was just normal Audible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was nothing. That wasn't even, Soundbooth's version, I don't think.
It was Soundbooth's version, but it was just the basic.
Okay. Yeah. So, but just the normal. And it was like, man, Yeah, normal Jeff. And it was just, yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I can listen to this. I know it's happening. And she got into it. She was like, shush. But when Ben Wolf was going to do the Road to Jordan Con or whatever I got Ben to do, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to be in Kansas City, so I'm going to bring Jeff and Ryan along." Fuck, what the hell? So just surprise me. Why don't you? So I went. I got the immersive tunnel, and I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is fantastic!" So now I have 2 seasons.
They actually have it's free on the Sound Booth audio app. There's an immersive tunnel episode 1 for Aced.
Yes, but is there? Okay.
Yeah.
I could go do that.
Yeah, it's only it's an hour long. It was kind of like an intro test pilot because we were going to see if it took off. We were going to do like the whole book as an immersive audiobook tunnel. But trying to get people to pick up a slice of life tennis LitRPG is really hard.
It
But that being said, that first episode is really good because it's the full on bells and whistles. Everything was rewritten from scratch. I wrote it with the audio immersion tunnel in mind. I actually had Ryan on Discord and held him hostage for like 5 hours as I wrote up the whole thing. And we talked back and forth. And then I was there when they were like planning out voices for all the different characters, and when Ahmed was doing all the sound engineering and everything for it. So it's super cool, and it's free on the Sound Booth Theater app. So if you all are looking for a quick 1 hour listen and you somehow make it go viral, we'll get more.
Match 1, Danny versus Truckun.
Yep, that it is.
Yeah. How about that? Now I have something to listen to. There, you got a sale. You got a something. You got a listen.
Oh, free download.
Yeah, whatever. It works. It does something. So what else is going on over here? I got this. Did we do this one?
You missed a few.
Did I?
Yeah.
Fine. Try. Yep,
got that one. Got that one.
Label them explicitly.
That was the. Okay.
There you go. We missed this one from Wookie. So, do you get help?
Sometimes we'll brainstorm ideas together. I know early DCO. I used to stay up at night with her, just like brainstorming my random mob ideas. And then she was just suffering with the terrible puns that I came up with. Now she's read a few of the books, so I know she is also waiting for Dead 2 to release. So she has been on me about
bugging
dev edits for that. I've also used her to like visually help me in a way of like I was trying to like play out a sword fight in my mind for Beast of the Black Hills. So I walked into her office and handed her like a stick, and it was like, hold this for a second. It was like play acting the sword fight against her so that I could like visualize it. So yeah, she gets randomly like snagged for weird things and just has to like put up with me.
Did you pay her for that kind of stuff?
Sometimes. She does specialized sprayed edges of my books.
Okay, so it's trade-off. It's bartering or whatever. So
yeah, she made the I have a very special edition of the Bone Dungeon trilogy that's going to be going up for auction at LitRPG Con for the charity auction.
Ahead.
And so she did the sprayed edges on all 3. She added a foil to the cover for the titles. The sprayed edges glow in the dark.
Ooh.
So it's very special, hand done, unique goodness.
Cool thing is I'll be around for that this year. We left early last year, but I think we're here till Monday now, so I'm expanding my context. Wait, so we got that, right?
We got that, yeah.
Okay.
Has there been any climatic events that I felt especially thrilled writing because you knew how satisfied your readers would be? Usually, so the fight at the end of Flamespitter, I was very hyped about people reading. And I know when Portal read it, they were actually like messaging me about how like cinematic it felt, and that like the scene was like coming to life, like in movie form in their minds, and they could see it all going down. Usually not so much like climatic moments though, because I don't really feel like I write grand moments. It's usually like jokes. It's usually like if I'm creating like a lot of the fun I had for DCL was like when I was coming up with the new mobs or the new floors, was seeing how people would react to the new floor boss, or the unique mobs with their strange, quirky abilities.
That's always fun to do. That's always fun to see what comes up.
So it was always, hearing how people would react to that. Or like when I had Skeletal Fight Club in Bone Dungeon, that I was like, oh man, readers are going to die when they laugh, like when they read this part right here. But yeah, I don't like think ever that I write like these like climatic, big scenes. So when people point them out or like claim that I did, it usually like throws me off. Or a funny one, because I'll listen to the audiobooks that Sound Booth does before they go live. Like I get to listen to them. And in Aced, of all of the books, so Aced, again, this is a slice of life tennis lit RPG story about a high schooler. Like it's cute, it's fun. But time and time again, people have told me that when it came to like characterizations, it has the best like character development and the best like character interactions of like all my works. Like everybody super raves about that. And I was listening to Ryan narrate it, and it got to this one scene where like the kid's mentor was essentially like talking to him and like really building him up and like trying to build up his confidence after like this certain moment. And like Ryan's narration of it, and then just the scene itself, like I'm like at my computer and I'm just like, why am I crying? I'm like, I wrote this. Why am I like, my words should not affect me in this way? Because I knew it was happening. Like I knew the scene was coming. I knew exactly what was going to be said, but like just Ryan's like presentation of it and like the moment he created for it, I was like crying, and I was like, okay.
Since you talked about crying, I can tell you will cry twice in Kiosk Kingdom.
Is that a promise or a challenge?
Not. Pardon me? That's a promise. It's not a challenge. It's a promise. If both Steve Campbell and PopPop cry. I mean, Steve used the word, I was wrecked for like a day or two. So yeah, you're gonna cry at least once, twice, I would say. Has your wife prevented a character death?
I don't think so. Mostly because I usually tell her about the scenes after they've already been written.
There you go. And then once they're done, they're done. There are no mulligans and no takebacks. There's a compliment. So, any other questions? Any other comments? Are we going to get to the point where can people find you?
At JordanCon, at LitRPGCon.
We didn't even talk about LitRPGCon. We're going to have you come back anyway because you're a panelist or a featured guest or something. What are you there?
I'm a panelist.
You're a panelist, just like Bob. So we're all the same, believe it or not. So we'll have someone come and talk to you about LitRPG. Because I think we're supposed to put something together. I don't know. That's way beyond, I don't do the planning. I just show up and do stuff.
Yeah, I was to say, people tell me where to be, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, fine. I'll be there. So that's all that, she spends inordinately too much time in the LitRPG Con Discord. So it's a known fact. I try to stay out of there because they're just crazy sometimes. So next week I get to talk now because it's my show, but damn it. Next week, I have a very, very light schedule. Let me just look over here so you can still see me looking, because I don't have two screens. I only have one. Next week, I am interviewing. When's that? Oh, it's a cool thing. Dreamers Riot. Dreamers Riot is a Raw Road artist. That's Raw Road Wednesday at 8:00 Eastern. I do a lot of work, hanging out with Discords with the Raw Road people. On April 2nd, I am going to have Cosplay. Cosplay has 2 series published over on Athon. I again met him through the Discord work. And then at 9:00 on that day, I'm going to have Timothy McGowan. So it's, again, 3 interviews for PopPop. Piece of cake. So, and then a couple weeks after that, we'll be at JordanCon. So, what hair dye should PopPop try?
So there's a brand called Arctic Fox.
Are really you serious? Look at this perfection on the top of my head.
It just means you don't have to bleach it.
That's true. I don't. Actually, nope, can't tell that story. I'll tell you that story someplace else. But
it's not being recorded.
It's not for consumption here. To protect all the innocents and the So yeah, should I have my hair dyed? No, I think Gims would kill me if I would do that, because then I would never be able to, to compare to you. So why would I even bother? So we're done. All right, Pop's got to go to sleep. Ryn, thank you so much for coming to visit me in my world today.
Thank you for having me.
JordanCon. Can't wait to see you in a couple weeks. Can't wait to experience JordanCon. It will be a blast. Save me whatever one of those. Well, I'll track you down. I know what you look like. I can find you.
I'm pretty easy to find.
You are, without a doubt. No more questions. And what hair color should I buy? Tell me. Put it on Discord. Do it someplace. We'll see. I don't know. So now I have to log out. Thank God Brian's not here, because he always screws up my signing off. Thank you so much, Ryn. See you in a little bit. But for now, I am leaving the world. And as I always say,